this is a great time to make those investments, put some things in place so that when things are lean, you're not saying, oh gosh, well now we really need to invest in this, and you don't have the capital and you're not in a position to do that. Hey guys, welcome back to Builder Funnel TV, and in today's video we're going to talk about 5 strategic moves that you can make in a hot market. So in this video I want to break down 5 things that we can be thinking about and thinking ahead about, because when things are good we tend to be really busy. You just kind of go, and that's the time to set yourself up for when things turn. So let's start with the first one, and that is increasing revenue and profitability. When the demand is there, that is the best time to increase your margins and your profitability. So one is you definitely just need to be charging more. So if there were projects that you were pricing out at 50,000, maybe you're charging 55 or 60. And obviously, raw materials and costs are going to factor into all this too. So just make sure that you're pushing your margins up, because this is the time to do it. If you have to turn away some work in order to do that, you're going to land more of those better margin projects, which will improve profitability. You don't want to be running really lean and super tight margins in a market like this, because you're just going to be in a world of hurt as we fast forward. That's definitely one aspect of it. And the other one is experiment with charging for things that maybe you haven't charged for in the past. Charging for design. Hopefully a lot of you are already doing that, but if you're not, this would be a good time to start implementing that process. Or maybe charging for consultations. That's something that a lot of people are talking about, but they maybe haven't made the leap to doing that. In a market like this where there's enough demand coming in, if you can't keep people away, then that's a great time to start charging. Just say, hey, to book an initial consult, it's $200, it's $400. I don't know, pick your number and just try it, experiment. And if you turn a couple of people away, hopefully you're in a spot where that's not that big of a deal, because you've got so much work coming in. But it's really important that the work you take on, you're getting better margins and you're charging for more steps along the process, and you're getting compensated for your time. So that's the first strategic move. The second one is building your backlog. So this is a really, really good time to set yourself up for securing work into the future. So maybe your backlog is a couple of months, or it's 4 months. Well, can you push it to 6? Can you push it to 9? Can you push it to a year? We're working with a customer and they're booked out for almost 2 years at this point. And you're not going to be able to do that in every market, and not every business is going to be able to do that. But the further you can push out that backlog and taking deposits and getting people on the schedule and actually holding that money so that they're committed to the process, that secures your future. So if, hey, in 18 months if things turn, but you just got this consistent 12-month backlog, it actually gives you a nice runway into a potentially slow period or tougher period of time where you've already secured the work and secured the project. So as you just continue to do this, even if you've just got a rolling 12-month backlog at all times, let's say we fast forward a year and suddenly something crazy happens and things slow down. Like if you've got people committed, you've taken deposits, like yeah, some of those projects may bail out, but you actually may still be able to operate for another 6 months. And compared to a competitor that hasn't built that backlog, it may give you that edge going into the slow time where you're still busy for a while, you're keeping your team working. So anything you can do to build that backlog and just make that as stable as possible, now is the time to do it. All right, so let's look at the third one, which is qualify harder. So I know right now lead flow is probably strong, and that's a good thing. But it can also be overwhelming. Talking to one of our Builder Funnel Academy members, and they were just overwhelmed with, I think he said he had 150 consultation requests that they hadn't gotten back to in like a 30 or 60 day period. That could be overwhelming if you aren't used to that type of lead volume. Maybe if you're getting 20 or 30 leads a month and now you're getting 40 or 60 and you're not quite sure how to process that, what I like to think about is adding barriers into the process. So extending your forms, asking more questions, more detailed questions like exact budget questions and different things that will help you, weed people out. So based on their form submission, you can quickly look at it and go, yep, that's not the right fit. You can create a nice email template and then you could just send it to those people and say, sorry, it looks like you're not a good fit. Here's a couple of other great companies, or here's a couple of other great resources. And that can be a nice, efficient way to kind of part ways with those leads in a very professional way, and they can go somewhere else, and that allows you to just pull in the best quality leads for your company. So that's one way. Definitely having a good screening process on the phone, asking the right questions over a 10 or 15-minute call before you book a in-person meeting. So if you just think about all the entry points for leads and all the touch points in your sales process, add more walls, add more barriers, add more friction to the process so that less people actually make it to that first meeting where you're going to spend some time. Charging for consultations is a form of adding a barrier. So that was something I mentioned in the first point. That can help profitability, but it can actually also help you weed out some leads. So as you're thinking about your sales process, a lot of times in marketing and sales, we talk about removing friction, making it super easy for people to work with you and flow through the process. However, in a hot market, you may want to turn the tables a little bit and add some more friction. So think about that as you're moving through the rest of this period of time where things are really strong. So fourth piece is invest. This is a good time to invest in things like marketing, or a new sales process, or maybe some sales coaching and training, investing in new software or new equipment. But when things are good, this is a great time to make those investments, put some things in place so that when things are lean, you're not saying, oh gosh, well now we really need to invest in this, and you don't have the capital and you're not in a position to do that. Most counterintuitively, now is actually the time to invest in marketing. You think, gosh, I need less marketing because I'm already so busy, but this is what guides you through the really tough times. Same with, things like equipment or staffing or, sales training. Maybe you can be a terrible salesperson in this market and you're still super busy. Well, this is the time to hone those skills and get better at that, because when things are lean, you're going to be a very efficient, well-oiled machine, and you'll be ready to tackle that tougher environment. Think about some strategic investments that you've maybe been thinking about for a while, or that you need to put on your radar and say, yeah, the next six months, I think we should invest in these 1, 2, or 3 different things for our business. Even though we're super busy and we may not have a ton of time, I know this is the right time to do it. And the fifth one is set aside cash. When things are good, we have a tendency to think they're always going to be good. And so we tend to just spend money as it comes in. Maybe you're not, maybe you're breaking even because you're just like, hey, let's spend more on new hires and new equipment and some of these, investments that I just mentioned. Those are important, but just make sure that you're not giving up cash that you're setting aside, because that cash in the lean times is going to allow you to, one, weather that storm and survive, and hopefully you'll be able to retain all your staff. But as kind of a jujitsu move, when things are lean and you have cash, right now one of the biggest challenges is labor. So when you fast forward to that position, when other companies are struggling and they're having to lay off their really incredible staff members, you might actually be in a position to hire those people and bring them onto your team, and that can solve that problem for the next busy cycle. When, like right now, everyone's screaming, we need better people, we need better labor. I can't find good help to execute on all these projects that I could get. Well, let's fast forward through a couple more cycles and play this out. So that's why I always like to just take a step back and take a breather when things are running really good. It's like, okay, this isn't going to last forever. What can I do now to set myself up for the low time? And then if I actually kill it during that time and I succeed there, that's going to put me in an even better position for the next big cycle and hot time. So think about setting aside cash as well as making some investments. You should be able to do both of those if you're following number 1, which is improving your margins and charging more. And then when you move into the low time, you'll be in an excellent spot to succeed. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. We'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.